Here is some background into the remote viewing report that you are about to watch, and it relates to the surge in UFO or UAP sightings that is going on around the world today. Now at Farsight, we do not doubt the existence of extraterrestrials operating in the Earth environment. We divide the extraterrestrials into two basic groupings who we call the good ETs and the bad ETs. Now we have worked with the good ETs for a great many years. We have had and continue to have meetings with them. They helped us with the development of our remote viewing procedures, and they have guided us through many rough times. Recently, they have insisted that we video record our meetings with them so that there can be a public record of our interactions, and so that the public can know that they do not want any secrecy with regard to what they have been doing. The good ETs are opposed to the bad ETs. The bad ETs have written agreements with the United States government that allow them to operate a huge human trafficking operation on this planet in exchange for technical assistance in reverse engineering ET tech that can be obtained from crashed UFOs. UFOs that are flown by the good ETs, which the US government has been able to shoot down with the ET tech that they have been given by the bad ETs. Now, the good ETs could easily defend themselves, but that would cause the government to view the good ETs as the aggressors, and that would throw humanity further into the hands of the bad ETs, making it impossible for the good ETs to convince everyone that they are here trying to offer help. Now, recently, the good ETs insisted that we video record what we call our Farsight ET board meetings, where all of our remote viewers gather together to talk with the ET representatives, which are usually two ETs. At the insistence of the good extraterrestrials, we publish those meetings on social media soon after they occur. You can find them both on YouTube and farsightprime.com. Now, we have these meetings each month, and in our November 2024 meeting, which occurred on November 13th, they stated that they were going to start flying ships in very large numbers all over the globe for everyone to see. They would not be using any form of stealth tech, and they encouraged the public to go outside to see the ships and to make video recordings of the ships. No special equipment would be needed to do this. Any normal camera would work well, including cell phone cameras. Well, we published the video recording of that meeting on YouTube and on farsightprime.com on the 15th of November. 3 days after that, around the 18th of November, the ET ships started showing up all over the skies, usually at night, staying clearly visible typically for hours at a time. In the United States, public attention has been focused on sightings in New Jersey, but that is sort of nuts, since they are also happening elsewhere, including California, Pennsylvania, New York, as well as other places worldwide, including places like Russia, Ukraine, Asia, you name it. There is a rapid but increasing growth of the sightings everywhere. Now, the purpose of these sightings is obviously to force the rapid disclosure of the ET presence in the Earth environment. The bad ETs are the ones who interact with the US governmental officials, and one of the written stipulations of those interactions is that the presence of the extraterrestrials in the Earth environment must be kept totally secret. Basically, if the public knew about the extraterrestrials, they would quickly learn what the bad ETs have been doing on this planet for thousands of years, and that would greatly interfere with those activities. So secrecy is an absolute requirement of continued interactions with the bad ETs. Now, the good ETs have been completely shut out of normal contact with governmental officials. So they have made great efforts to appeal directly to the masses instead, which is a long story which I will continue to speak about when given the opportunity. The reaction of the US government to these sightings has been quite predictable. The first reaction was to state publicly that the ET sightings are drones and that they don't know who is operating them. Then they tried to float the idea that the drones were launched by an Iranian mothership using Chinese technology that was operating off the eastern coast of the US. Well, that obviously did not go down very well. So they quickly dropped that idea and stated that the drones were actually normal aircraft being flown legally. Well, the drones are still coming, And obviously they are not normal aircraft, and they continue to be seen in absolutely huge numbers worldwide. And the phenomenon is increasing. Now, the purpose of the sightings, again, is to force the disclosure process. The ships are trying to be seen. The good ETs want you to see them. They are even trying to show you that they are friendly by sometimes blinking normal aviation red and green lights on the ships to make sure you notice them. Now, the good ETs are militarily dominant when compared with the bad ETs in the solar system, so they can defend themselves from the bad ETs if necessary. So the bad ETs have no easy way to stop the sightings. However, the bad ETs have given the U.S. government technology that could be used to disable the drones, at least over American soil. But the use of this technology would require that the U.S. show that technology to the public, and they do not want to do this, since secrecy is a primary concern. So the sightings continue, and the public continues to pressure its governmental representatives for answers. Now, the U.S. government absolutely knows the full story of the sightings. The government is simply not able to tell the public the truth, since that would collapse the entire secrecy house of cards. The U.S. government is also fully aware of the extraterrestrial contacts that have been going on at Farsight for a great many years. Indeed, we would not be able to operate if it were not for the protection that is offered to us by elements within the U.S. military that support open disclosure of the extraterrestrial presence on Earth. The military is very divided on this issue, while the civilian government remains in the pocket of the bad ETs. Now, the goal of the U.S. government is to push the drone sightings off of the front pages of the news. That is why they seek greater control over social media. However, social media is not yet under their full control, something that will occur in a few years if disclosure does not happen. So reports of the sightings continue, and the good ETs do not plan to stop them. The good ET plan is to encourage the public to get used to the friendly nature of the good ETs. In the near future, political and military events will spin out of control on this planet, and the good ETs will need to intervene publicly in order to prevent a complete planetary meltdown. Now, that cannot be the first time you see the good ETs. So when this happens, the good ETs want the public to recognize them, to not be afraid, and to see that the good ETs are here to help. Meanwhile, you can be sure that the bad ETs will be doing everything they can to muddy the waters, including trying to occasionally mimic the sighting activities of the good ETs while doing things that scare the public, thereby making the public think all ETs are hostile. So don't be fooled by that. Also, there will be people, very well-known people who have been active in the UFO disclosure community, who will claim that these sightings are part of a fake alien invasion run by evil humans that is designed to scare people and thus to enable the government to control the narrative. Don't be fooled by that either. The sightings are obviously not fake. The good ETs will not do anything aggressive to the public. They are bending over backwards to show you that they are friendly. I will be speaking more about this topic regularly in the future, including on the twice-weekly Farsight Spotlight segment that you can watch on both YouTube and farsightprime.com on Sundays and Wednesdays. The major media and big podcasts have not yet interviewed me or anyone at Farsight about this phenomenon, despite the fact that we are the only ones who can tell people what is really going on. I hope that will change in the near future, and I would personally love to speak on those venues. But we are a free will group, and we cannot force people to do anything if they don't want to do it. So we just continue with our own activities, and we speak with anyone who is willing to listen about what is actually happening. But friends, let's put two and two together. If the good ETs are trying so hard to show themselves to you, flying hundreds and hundreds of ships for hours and days and weeks on end for you to see them, don't you think that they would have established at least one group of humans on Earth who could explain what is going on with authority? A group that has had a lot of personal contact with them? They are not going to fly their ships all over the place and leave it up to random luck to see if anyone explains what they are doing correctly. Well, that is the purpose of Farsight. We know these people. We have known these people for many years. They are nice people, honest. They will not do anything bad to you. And one day, if I am invited onto the major media and podcast venues, I hope to speak more about them. I truly think you would like to hear their side of the story. You should be able to recognize this given how much effort they are making to show you their ships. They are making a huge investment in you right now. Now back to this video that you are watching, the ET Presidential Manipulators. This project was designed to give you a window into how the bad ETs are involved in controlling human leadership. The control involves all sorts of approaches, from bribery to coercion to blatant mental manipulation. This project that you are watching now focuses on the mental manipulation side of the phenomenon. Know that any civilian leadership can be protected from this mental manipulation by the good ETs, but the good ETs are adamant about respecting free will, and they require that people ask for their assistance. And they do not like secrecy. The bad ETs love secrecy, and they don't have any problems with spying on or manipulating the thoughts and emotions of human leadership. They employ a top-down approach to controlling this planet. So this project is designed to shed light on the actual operatives that are utilized by the bad ETs while operating behind the scenes to influence governmental leaders, and in this case, candidates for president in the recent U.S. presidential election. Learning what the bad ETs have been up to for a great many years is totally part of the disclosure process.
Hey everyone, I'm Yumi Janae from Farsight. Today we're going to be talking with you about presidential hybrid manipulators. So this is a very interesting post-election review of something that happened during the election. Let's take, for example, Professor David Jacobs' book, Walking Among Us. Professor Jacobs has written numerous books about the extraterrestrial threat to mankind. However, Walking Among Us is his latest book, and in it, he details how extraterrestrials have been engaging in genetic engineering program to enable them to create people who are hybrids between both ETs and humans. The hybrids are normally genetic mixes between ET Greys and humans. So now the Greys have strong telepathic capabilities that are built into their genes. These same genetically dependent telepathic capabilities are largely absent from humans. Although with training, humans can regain much of that capability, which is what you see among people who work at Farsight. When you start to mix gray genes with human genes, you lose some of the telepathic reach, so to speak. So the trick is to keep as much of the telepathic capability as you can while simultaneously increasing the human genetic makeup so that the result is a person who looks completely human, but who is telepathically much more like a Grey. So Professor Jacobs identifies two types of subjects in this process. The first is what he calls a hybrid. Now, a hybrid has much of the telepathic reach of a Grey. However, the hybrid still looks a little bit wonky. You can tell that something is not right with the person. The forehead is a little extended, or the hairline may be too recessed, and the eyes are too big, or perhaps the eyes are just not placed correctly. It's too close, but not close enough. You name it, the weird things happen. The second type of subject that Professor Jacobs talks about is a hybrid. Now, a hybrid is totally indistinguishable on a physical level from a normal Earth human. Hybrids look and talk just like a normal human in every single way. The major difference is that they still have extended telepathic capabilities. Now, the telepathic capabilities of a hybrid are not as strong as those of Greys or even hybrids, but they are still pretty good. Importantly, Hybrids have substantial remote influencing capabilities as well. Thus, they can not only read minds, but they can influence the thoughts of other people, including groups of people, although it has been reported that the number of hybrids may need to work together to influence the emotions and thoughts of a large or emotionally charged group of humans. Importantly, you should know that Professor David Jacobs has only studied extraterrestrials who are among the group who we at Farsight call the bad ETs. This is because he studies people who have been involved in the abduction phenomenon. The bad ETs are the ones who run the planet as a psychological prison, and they want to create operatives that work here on Earth to help manipulate the human population. These operatives need to be able to pass themselves off as completely human. Also, these operatives need to be able to manipulate people so that they can become close to the people in power. The bad ETs generally have a top-down approach to controlling humanity. They try to control the leadership of humanity so that they can then control the masses. The good ETs don't do any of that. They adamantly adhere to the concept of free will. So the good ETs are not involved in any abduction phenomenons. So Professor David has no experience in studying that group of extraterrestrials. Okay, so this current project that you are watching right now focuses on those extraterrestrial manipulators who have been assigned specifically to influence Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Donald Trump during the past election that we just experienced in 2024. We want to focus on the period of October 2024, the month before the election. Basically, we want to spy on the manipulators during the heat of the campaign. Remember that all Farsight projects are done totally blind using instrument blinding protocols, which you can read about on our website, farsight.org. We consider this superior to blind or double blind since it enables our viewers to work solo. Solo and blind is best. Farsight remote viewers know nothing about the target or the nature of the project when they do their work, and they conduct their video sessions totally blind in the studio. So, drawing from the target definition, you want to see if the remote viewers hone in on subjects who are telepathically trying to influence humans. Also, not all ET manipulators need to be hybrids. Some ET manipulators can look a little wonky or very different from normal humans, and they can still be manipulators as long as they remain physically hidden from the humans that they're trying to manipulate. But now, before we show you the data for this project, do you guys want to see a UAP that we captured at Farsight with our own Farsight cameras? Remember, nearly all of the UFOs that we capture with our own cameras are being flown by the bad guys, whatever, the ones running this planet as a prison. If they were flown by the good ETs, the U.S. Secret Space Program, who works with the bad ETs, would have been trying to shoot them down by now. So, these UFOs that we capture with our own cameras here at Farsight are not the ones being shot down by the American Secret Space Program. Here's a great one that was shot with our own cameras in October 2024. Take a look. Remember, we are trying to encourage other people to make their own UFO videos by following our methods. A link to our methods can be found in the description area below this video. We hope you try it yourself. It's really fun once you get the hang of it. Also, if you have not already done so, please consider becoming a subscriber to farsightprime.com, where you get access to the full library of remote viewing projects going back to the beginning of Farsight. Everything from archaeological projects, historical projects, deeply political projects such as 9/11 and the JFK assassination, extraterrestrial projects, all sorts of everything and in between and tops and bottoms, you name it, we probably more than likely have it. Remember that the group of extraterrestrials, who we call the Good ETs, helped us create and build Farsight. And they also helped us set up FarsightPrime.com's library, video library, to answer the informational needs of humanity during this time of great change that is now upon us. You really need to know what is in that library, since nowhere can you get the truth from any mainstream outlets. Nowhere. And when you subscribe to FarsightPrime.com, you really help us do our work. We have no advertisements or product placements on FarsightPrime.com, so we really rely on our subscribers to be able to do our work. It is necessary for us to be a grassroots organization that does not depend on corporate or government sponsorship. That is the only way we can keep our focus on the unbiased truth and only the truth. If what we present to you is different from what you see on the news or what you were taught in school, there's a reason for that. The mainstream does not want you to know the truth. Farsight is unique, and you are really helping change the entire planet when you subscribe to FarsightPrime.com. We truly, truly appreciate your support. So, back to our regular scheduled program, the ET manipulators trying to influence our presidential candidates during the just completed presidential election in the United States. All Farsight projects have a target, and the target for this project is the presidential ET hybrid manipulators used to mentally influence Biden, Harris, and Trump during the month of October 2024. There are 3 focuses with this project. The first is Joe Biden, the second focus is Kamala Harris, and the third focus is Donald Trump. Each focus has 1 or 2 and occasionally 3 ET manipulators. It really depends on what the remote viewers pick up. The manipulators are identified by letters where A and B are for Biden, C and D are for Harris, and E and F are for Trump. Starting with the session spy Intisam, and then Aziz Brown, myself. This is us spying on the ET spies. And you get to watch firsthand what those beings are doing who are trying to manipulate human leadership. After you see all of our sessions, I will return to pull everything together. Now remember, not all ET manipulators will look like hybrids. Some can be very different looking as long as they keep themselves hidden from the surrounding humans. Also, many extraterrestrials with strong telepathic capabilities are able to change the way humans see them. Some call this shape-shifting, others may call it glamour, whatever you may call it, but they are not physically changing the way they look. They're simply changing the way that humans perceive them. Mental manipulation as well. Mental manipulation.